makes only 6.53. Employment has come back, but you still choose to quote the numbers of May 2020, when the country was in a lockdown. So fake narrative number 2, that there is huge unemployment in the country, is busted. Now come to fake narrative number 3. Universal cash transfers is a remedy for all the problems. Particularly the main opposition party has this solution to offer. But let me tell them, wherever in countries which have given universal cash transfers, even we have done cash transfers.
Getting in right now from the parliament is that Trinamool Congress Rajya Sabha member Dr Dinesh Trivedi announced his resignation in Rajya Sabha. This was during an ongoing debate on budget. We are going to get you more details on exactly what triggered this. But we understand that Dinesh Trivedi announced his resignation during the discussion in the Rajya Sabha. This is the big breaking news that's coming in. Rahul Shrivastava is joining us with more details on this. Rahul, was this on the cards? Was it expected or very sudden even for the TMC?
Akshita, one is definitely can be saying that it comes as a surprise that Mr. Dinesh Trivedi, one of the prominent faces of the Trinamool Congress in Delhi and in Rajya Sabha, has quit his post. Now, Mr. Trivedi has taken high moral ground position in the past also. As Railway Minister, he had resigned from the Council of Ministers, and now his resignation. He during his while speaking on the budget, to which Nirmala Sitharaman, the Finance Minister, will be replying in some time now, he said that there are things happening about which he can't do much, and he feels that what his indication was, he feels kind of politically stifled, and that is why he is resigning. And he made the statement, made the announcement, and then left the house. And one will have to catch up with Mr. Dinesh Trivedi to find the exact reasons, that what is the reason why that he is quitting his Rajya Sabha membership.
Any details, Rahul? This is simply because we've been seeing an ongoing trend of TMC leaders quitting and a few days later announcing that they're joining the BJP. Is that the case with Mr. Trivedi?
Akshita, one really doesn't know that whether his sense of helplessness that he expressed on the floor of the House was vis-a-vis what is happening as the political per se, largely at the national level, because he was speaking during the budget speech. And in budget, opposition is known to target the government, and several members of parliament over the last few days, over the motion for thanks for the president's address and the budget, have expressed a kind of a sense of angst and anger over the manner in which politics is unfolding. And that is why one will have to wait and see that Mr. Trivedi has resigned vis-a-vis his frustration as being a member of the Trinamool Congress, or largely being as a part of the national political mainstream.
Okay. Rahul, stay with us. I want to get in a reaction from the BJP. Gaurav Bhatia is joining us on this broadcast. Gaurav, good afternoon. What do you make of this development? Dinesh Trivedi gets up and resigns in the Rajya Sabha.
This has to be read in the larger context that the politics of TMC, which symbolizes corruption, lack of leadership, dynastic rule, is crumbling like a pack of cards. And therefore, the popularity of BJP is increasing, and we are pretty sure that many other leaders will desert the TMC for the lack of leadership and the dictatorial style that Mamata Banerjee has. And the next government would be formed by the BJP in West Bengal. This is also, in that series, another event leading to the change in government.
Gaurav, some information also coming in that Dinesh Trivedi could be looking at joining the BJP.
I would not be able to make any comments on that. For the time being, I think we should restrict ourselves to the resignation. And the resignation makes it very clear that Mamata Banerjee will be shown the door by the West Bengal citizenry.
All right, Gaurav Bhatia, thank you for joining us with your opinion. But a lot of drama playing out in the Rajya Sabha. Dinesh Trivedi, their senior member of the TMC, resigning in the Rajya Sabha. He cited issues that he says is with regards to the development of West Bengal. So definitely seems like that's a jibe at his party at the Trinamool Congress. But sources telling us that he could just join the BJP in a couple of days. That is something that we are waiting a confirmation on. But if this is the case, no doubt it's a huge, huge setback for Mamata Banerjee. Rahul Shrivastava is still with us. Rahul, Dinesh Trivedi has been a very senior, very seasoned politician. So when he gets up and makes this dramatic statement that, you know, I'm resigning for the development of West Bengal, definitely doesn't augur well for Mamata.
Yes, definitely. I think the dramatic manner in which he has announced his resignation is perhaps that because if he had to be a sense of anger over how the central government or national politics is unfolding, it would have been a different ballgame altogether. The indication came perhaps one day ago when on a tweet by Prime Minister Narendra Modi that India is proud of the role of the private sector in national progress and in India, enhancing India's prestige globally. That was what Prime Minister had talked about in the Lok Sabha while speaking on the motion of thanks for the President. Now, the Prime Minister had backed the private sector at a time when political parties across the spectrum, led by the Congress Party, are leading a fierce charge against the private sector and privatization or entry of private players into agriculture. Now, on that, Mr. Dinesh Trivedi had said that I'm personally in agreement with this, means with the Prime Minister's statement. And he had said that the way forward is to let our young, talented minds innovate, create and distribute wealth, pay government levies, create jobs. For that, our government officers, babus too, need to encourage the youth. Now, a Trinamool Congress leader picking up a statement of the Prime Minister backing the private sector, which is facing anger and political upheaval by the opposition, including the TMC, is perhaps a telltale sign, Akshita, that it could well be that by endorsing what the Prime Minister said, opposed by the TMC in the Lok Sabha. Remember that on the day the Prime Minister was speaking and making his address, the Congress and the TMC members were the ones which had walked out of the House. And on that statement of the Prime Minister that day, the Trinamool Congress leader, Dinesh Trivedi, is saying, I'm personally in agreement with this. Perhaps is an indication that what lies in store, that Mr. Dinesh Trivedi, one of the most prominent faces, I will say, of the Trinamool Congress, apart from leaders like Shrivastava Roy and Derek O'Brien, could well be the sign that he plans to change his political colors and his political play. That he's agreeing with Prime Minister Narendra Modi at a time when the BJP and Trinamool Congress are locked in perhaps the most fierce political battles ever in the electoral history of India.
Okay. Rahul, just stay with us. I just want to play out exactly what happened in the Rajya Sabha. The dramatic moment where Dinesh Trivedi got up and said he's resigning.
कि हम करें तो क्या सीमित है, एक पार्टी में है तो पार्टी की डिसिप्लिन है और आई एम ग्रेटफुल टू माय पार्टी दैट दे हैव सेट मी हियर, मगर मुझे अब थोड़ी घुटन महसूस होती कि हम कुछ कर नहीं पा रहे, उधर अत्याचार। तो मेरी आत्मा की आवाज आज ये कह रही है, और वो स्वामी विवेकानंद जो कहते थे, अराइज अवेक एंड स्टॉप नॉट टिल द गोल इज रीच्ड, तो आज मुझे आत्मा ये कह रही है कि यहाँ बैठे बैठे यदि आप चुपचाप रहो और कुछ नहीं कह सकते हो, उससे अच्छा है कि यहाँ से आप त्यागपत्र दो और जाके बंगाल की भूमि में
इसके लिए ड्यू प्रोसेस है। माननीय चेयरमैन साहब को
कहता हूँ, मैं आज यहाँ से इस्तीफा दे रहा हूँ और देश के लिए, बंगाल के लिए हमेशा जिस प्रकार
इसके लिए भी एक ड्यू प्रोसेस है। माननीय चेयरमैन साहब को आप लिखित।
The process for resignation from Rajya Sabha, Rahul, is most definitely not to give a speech in the upper house and announce your resignation. It's to send across a formal letter. And it's clear that Dinesh Trivedi perhaps wanted to send a message to the TMC by doing this.
You see, there is a very simple laid down procedure as far as resigning from a membership of any of the two houses is concerned. One needs to write a formatted letter prescribed by the rules to the chairman or the speaker of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. But there has been a history of people resigning on the floor of the House, perhaps to drive home a message. If you listen to what Mr. Dinesh Trivedi said on the floor of the House, that he feels frustrated, he feels claustrophobic, that he's feeling suffocated given the circumstances because he's part of one party. And that is why he'll like to go back and work in Bengal. Now, there is historically, if you recall, in the 1991, Prime Minister Chandrasekhar, pushed by the Congress party, which was supporting his 40-odd members to remain in power, had made an announcement of resignation on the floor of the House. So it is known that people use that position, platform called Parliament to make a dramatic move. And it's surprising that Dinesh Trivedi has chosen to do this. Instead of sending a letter of resignation to the chairman, he has first chosen to announce it on the floor of the House.
It's symbolic in many ways, the fact that he's decided to do it in such a manner. I just want to play out that sequence again from the Rajya Sabha, where Dinesh Trivedi speaking decides to go ahead and resign and announces the same in the floor of the House.
कि हम करें तो क्या सीमित है, एक पार्टी में है तो पार्टी की डिसिप्लिन है, और आई एम ग्रेटफुल टू माय पार्टी दैट दे हैव सेट मी हियर, मगर मुझे अब थोड़ी घुटन महसूस होती है कि हम कुछ कर नहीं पा रहे, उधर अत्याचार। तो मेरी आत्मा की आवाज आज ये कह रही है, और वो स्वामी विवेकानंद जो कहते थे, अराइज अवेक एंड स्टॉप नॉट टिल द गोल इज रीच्ड, तो आज मुझे आत्मा ये कह रही है कि यहां बैठे बैठे यदि आप चुपचाप रहो और कुछ नहीं कह सकते हो, उससे अच्छा है कि यहां से आप त्याग पत्र दो और जाके बंगाल की भूमि में
इसके लिए एक ड्यू प्रोसेस है। माननीय चेयरमैन साहब को
कहता हूं, मैं आज यहां से इस्तीफा दे रहा हूं और देश के लिए, बंगाल के लिए हमेशा जिस प्रकार